A sister loss consultation is very important in building the relationship with the client because it's going to be a long-term one. There are three phases to the sister loss consultation. The first phase is information gathering. You have already completed this section where you ask the client several questions about their hair care history and how they feel about their hair and how they want to move forward with sister locks. The second phase is information sharing, and this is the section that we're going to cover next. The third phase is sample locks, and we will demonstrate how to put the sample locks in a later section. Right now, we are going to be covering information sharing. Let's begin. In the information sharing section, we're going to be using the Sister Locks consultation portfolio. We will begin by reading the letter from Dr. Cornwell, which introduces the client to what's about to happen during their consultation. Greetings to new clients. At Sister Locks, we stress professionalism at every stage, and this begins with your Sister Locks consultation. The Sister Locks consultation is not just an unstructured conversation about sister locks. It is up to the consultant to guide potential clients through three specific phases. These are information gathering. This is a time to explore the client's hair care history, preferences, overall hair characteristics, special needs, acceptance issues, and non-standard and scalp conditions, and more. Number two, information sharing about the sister lock system. Here, you will learn what to expect from your sister locks and what will be expected of you. We also expect to get information about appointment scheduling, pricing, and ongoing maintenance and products. Number three, sample locks. No professional would put hundreds of sister locks in a client's hair without first testing the procedure in a small section of hair using sample locks. These help ensure that the proper size and locking patterns are chosen. Improper sizes and techniques can result in unnecessary problems like lumpy locks, excessive unraveling, too much scalp showing, and so on. Sample locks also provide valuable reality check for clients because it gives them a clear picture of what the locks will actually look like in their hair. Do not skip this step. Finally, remember that working with natural hair is a sensitive process that requires coordination and cooperation with your consultant. You are not just getting a hairstyle. A thorough consultation can help avoid unnecessary problems like excessive slippage, bunching, too much scalp showing, and so on. Even when everything is done right, there can be complications. For example, because of the difference in our hair types, some hair will settle into the sister locks after only 2 to 3 shampooings, while others may take 6 months or more. Your consultant will need to keep an eye on things, especially in the beginning, so schedule appropriate appointments, stick to your retightening schedule, and enjoy your beautiful sister locks. Sincerely, Dr. Joanne Cornwell, originator, Sister Locks. Sister locks looks different for different people because it works directly with your hair type. Both people in this picture have sister locks, but one has a tighter texture of hair and one has a looser texture. The people with tighter textured hair have locks that look straight and almost like wool. The people with looser hair textures tend to have wavy locks, even when they're locked. The final outcome of what your locks will look like depends on your hair type, and we'll be measuring your characteristics to find out that later. One of the things that people enjoy the most about sister locks is the stylability. The lady in this photograph has braided her hair in sections of about 10 to 12 locks while her hair was damp, and she put rollers on the end, let the hair dry, and when she took it out, this is what it looks like. Your styling options with sister locks are endless. You can do roller sets, braid outs, bantu knots, pretty much any style that you have done with your loose hair, you can do with sister locks. When sister locks first started, no one was really doing a big chop. So you can actually get your sister locks started with 2 inches of new growth under your relaxer. You don't have to cut off your relaxed ends. Over time, the relaxed ends will be cut during a retightening in order to create a more uniform look. The two textures will be treated differently as you will be using the Sisterlock Starter Shampoo on your scalp, but you will still need to maintain the relaxed ends with the appropriate moisturizing products, and you could still style them as you had been in the past. As we mentioned, any kind of styling that you're thinking about doing, you can do with Sisterlocks. We actually do not recommend heat styling in the early stages of the locks because the same thing that happens to loose hair will happen to your hair in locks. Also, the young lady in this picture has color. If you're planning to color your hair, you would need to color it prior to getting your Sisterlocks established, and you would have to wait to recolor until after they have settled. Color is a chemical, and we're relying on the natural characteristics of the hair to hold the hair together, so color would be a disruptive process if we applied it during the settling phase. If you are going to color your hair prior to your locking session, please do so at least 2 weeks before getting your locks put in. That way you can have an opportunity to shampoo your hair and get your texture to resemble its most natural state after having been altered by color. In this picture, we see someone wearing their hair in a freestyle look. The same things that happen to your hair when it's loose, as we mentioned earlier, will happen to your hair in locks. During the settling phase, as you're shampooing your hair, you know that when our hair interacts with water, it loosens up and it draws up. So shrinkage is still a thing. In order to minimize shrinkage and that entire movement of the hair, which causes what we call slippage, in order to minimize slippage, we will want to take care of our hair by shampooing it using a specific process that we'll discuss later. In this picture, I would like to draw your attention to what slippage looks like. Looking at these hair strands over here, you can see that there are spaces in the hair. That is an example of slippage. Slippage can happen anywhere along the lock, at the scalp, in the middle, or towards the end. When there's slippage at the scalp, it looks like an excessive amount of new growth. For example, if you got your retightening done, let's say 2 weeks before, and you shampooed your hair, and as you're working your fingers through your hair, you notice that one lock has an inch worth of loose hair, while the one next to it has about a quarter of an inch. The one with a quarter of an inch is regular new growth. The one with an inch of new growth is slippage because your hair doesn't grow at different rates right next to each other like that. So you would know that that would be slippage. If you have spaces in the middle of your lock, that would also be slippage. At the ends, it will look like an excessive amount of loose ends. When we put the Sisterlocks in, we only leave about a quarter of an inch of loose hair at the ends. This is because the locking process starts in this loose hair. So if you leave too much ends loose, the locking process tends to form a ball at the end of the hair. And if you leave too much hair, that is the size of the ball. So we want to make the size of that ball as small as possible. The bigger the space that you leave, whether it's in the middle or at the ends or at the scalp, it will cause locks to bunch up if it's not fixed. So slippage must be fixed as soon as we see it. What causes slippage? Slippage is caused by improper shampooing techniques. It's caused by oils and conditioners. So in the beginning of your locking process, you will be avoiding oils, conditioners, and any moisturizing products because we're relying on the natural texture of the hair to hold the hair together. Later, when your hair has settled, you can move on to more moisturizing products, but in the beginning, you will only be using the Sisterlocks Starter Shampoo. The starter shampoo is designed to roughen up the cuticle of the hair, which makes the hair strands hold together better and helps the hair to lock faster. Continuing with the versatility of Sisterlocks, any hairstyle that you're looking to do, you can do as you see in this picture. You can get precision haircuts and anything that you can imagine, you can still do. I want to draw your attention in this picture to the lock in the front of her hair right here. This lock has a bulge on the ends, and this is a sign of slippage that wasn't fixed over time. If slippage is not fixed over time, the hair will lock in this manner. As we discussed earlier, the ball that we had discussed that forms on the end becomes the size of the amount of hair that's left. And so as she has curled her hair completely, that area will not curl because that lock is bunched up. So we want to fix slippage as soon as we see it. And typically, fixing slippage, if it's excessive, will require a separate appointment from the retightening. In this picture, we can see that the young lady has shampooed her hair and done a wash and go with the picture on the left. She also has some thinning going on in the front of her hair, maybe due to braids or traction. And in the picture on the right, we can see that she has heat styled her hair. I would recommend, again, roller setting or other non-heat styling methods in the beginning. But she has styled her hair to camouflage the area of concern that she's facing with her hair. So again, the versatility of sister locks is on display here. For men, they're called brother locks. The difference between sister locks and brother locks is in the sizes. Men don't require as much stylability, so their locks are on the larger end of the sister locks range. Sister locks come in a range of sizes from small, medium, and large, and is based on the density of your hair in any given area. In the beginning, your sister locks may look like small braids. There may be some scalp showing depending on the density of your hair, and they may be stiffer than normal. However, you can style your way through this process, as you can see in this model's hair. You can style your hair immediately after the locks are established. Even when transitioning from a relaxer, you can still style your hair the same way that you would normally do, just with the sister locks on the bottom. As I mentioned before, no one was really doing a big chop when sister locks first started. So this is an example of someone who's transitioning from a relaxer into her natural sister locks. This is also a good example of how to wear a headband. You want to avoid putting your headband directly on the hairline to avoid breakage. As you can see, the model from the previous page has now cut off all her relaxed ends, and her hair is showcasing its fullness and volume. During the locking session, we try as much as possible to give you straight lines so that you can wear your hair any way that you would want and treat it like individual hair strands. Sister locks come in a range of 3 sizes: small, medium, and large. And the sizes are based on the requirements that the sister lock system has, as well as the density of your hair. Again, in this picture, we can see that in the beginning, you may have some scalp showing, but the more you shampoo, the more your hair fills in and the more it transitions into a fuller look. If you remember the picture where I mentioned that the sister locks look like little braids in the beginning and that there may be some scalp showing, this is the same model after several months of shampooing her hair on a regular basis, and her hair has swollen to about twice its size. It's not quite locked yet, but it's in the settled phase. In the settled phase, there is no more slippage, which we mentioned earlier. Slippage is when the locks come undone, either at the scalp, in the middle, or the ends. So the slippage had stopped, and at this point, you can start to use more moisturizing products in order to maintain your hair and give it some more hydration after having used the Sister Lock Starter Shampoo, which is a clarifying shampoo to help to keep the hair together. This is another example of a different hair texture from the beginning, where the scalp is showing and the hair is looking like little braids, and in the settled phase where the hair is swollen but not quite locked and more full. There is a special shampoo process that we call braiding and banding. I will demonstrate to you how to do this process step by step. The first step to properly shampooing your hair is to bundle the hair in about 2-inch sections. You may have 8 to 10 sections of bundled hair And if the hair is long, you will twist it in order to secure it more fully. You will fold the ends of the hair and secure them with a rubber band. The second step to properly shampooing your hair is to wet the hair thoroughly using low water pressure and low temperature. This is to loosen up any debris and prepare the hair for the product. The third step to properly shampooing your hair is to apply the shampoo directly to the scalp along the lines of the bundles that you have created. You will be using the Sister Locks Getting Started shampoo, which roughs up the cuticle in order for the locks to lock more quickly. You will shampoo in the direction of the hair growth using gentle technique. You will squeeze the length of the hair to get the rest of the shampoo onto the length of the lock. You will rinse thoroughly, blotch dry without using any friction, and air dry while still in the bundles. The fourth step to properly shampooing your hair is to undo the bundles by gently lifting the tip of the folded area to release the rubber band and undo any twists by separating them from the scalp.